Welcome to Cruise News, your daily update on everything happening at sea. Visit cruisenews.io to see today's stories and sign up for email alerts. So imagine booking a vacation that is so long, you literally have to forward your mail, put your car in storage, and, pack a wardrobe for 4 completely different seasons.
Yeah, it's a completely different mindset. People aren't just looking for like a quick weekend getaway anymore.
Right, exactly. They are fundamentally weighing what they want out of their time. And when you look at the raw data right now, the booking patterns where ships are physically being deployed, you see a really clear editorial lens for today's coverage.
For sure. Cruise travelers are prioritizing foundational safety, but they're also seeking out entirely new, sometimes really surprising destinations. They're fully embracing rapidly changing vacation styles.
And that transformation is happening at both ends of the spectrum,
Yep.
from the ultra-wealthy global explorers to folks finding incredible cultural density right in their own backyards.
Right, and we have a roadmap today that illustrates this perfectly. We're going to start by looking at a massive surge in luxury global expeditions.
Yeah, specifically how operators are restructuring to capture that demand. From there, we'll look at a really surprising boom in domestic cruising right here in the U.S.
And finally, we will take a sober look at a serious shipboard passenger safety matter that resulted in a criminal conviction. Because, frankly, none of these industry innovations mean a thing without the absolute baseline of passenger security.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because changing vacation styles are driving massive numbers for luxury expedition lines right now. Specifically, let's look at Atlas Ocean Voyages.
Yeah, they just reported that their year-to-date sales are running 49% ahead of the exact same period in 2025 across all future voyages.
Wait, 49%.
Yeah, and just to pause on that number, a 49% year-over-year jump is not, incremental growth. That is a loud flashing signal from the market.
It really is.
It tells us that demand for their existing expedition portfolio is surging, but it also highlights the immense early interest in their upcoming fleet expansion. People are practically throwing deposits at these itineraries.
Which brings us to the new hardware they're building. The Atlas Adventurer is scheduled to join their fleet in November 2028. And the physical dimensions of this ship really tell the story of the modern luxury cruiser.
Oh, absolutely.
It has a 26,000 gross ton footprint. Now, if you're listening to this and trying to visualize that, a typical modern megaship is easily over 200,000 tons, right?
Right.
And carries 5,000 or 6,000 people. The Atlas Adventurer is a fraction of that size. They are capping the capacity at a maximum of 400 guests.
And that's the crucial metric right there, space. In luxury travel, space is the ultimate premium.
Exactly. And to take care of those 400 guests, they will have a crew of about 275 members.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when you run that guest-to-crew ratio, you're almost at a 1-to-1 setup.
Yeah.
It's less like a traditional cruise ship and more like an ultra-exclusive floating boutique hotel where every single need is anticipated.
I love that boutique hotel analogy because it explains the psychology of the design, right? You have an all-suite layout, 7 distinct dining venues, 5 lounges, 2 outdoor bars.
Oh, and a dedicated fitness and wellness center, a pool, all for just 400 people. You are designing an environment specifically to eliminate friction. There are no lines.
No fighting for a deck chair.
Right, exactly. No fighting for a deck chair.
All right.
And they're taking that concept of frictionless travel straight into the pricing model with their always included program.
Because if you're dropping the kind of money required for a luxury expedition, the last thing you want is to be nickel and dimed for a cup of coffee.
Exactly. So your fare includes wines and spirits, all gratuities, specialty coffees, 24-hour in-suite dining, a stocked minibar. They even give you high-end low-cc bath products and a pair of binoculars.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, and on top of that, for this inaugural season, they have the Explorer's Choice inaugural offer. You book a suite, you choose between an air credit of up to $3,000, unlimited Wi-Fi, or a pre-expedition hotel stay. Upgrade to a reserve collection suite, you automatically get all 3.
What's fascinating here is how this luxury hardware is being deployed to entirely new destinations for the line. You have a ship that feels like a 5-star hotel, but travelers aren't just looking to sail the standard Mediterranean or Caribbean loops anymore.
Right, they're actively seeking out the unfamiliar. Atlas is using the Atlas Adventurer to introduce inaugural season routes featuring brand new ports in Southeast Asia and Eastern Africa.
The published routes are incredible. We're talking about voyages from Kobe to Hong Kong, Bangkok to Bali, Manila to Singapore.
And then full crossings of the Indian Ocean, right? Routes going from Mombasa to Cape Town and vice versa.
Exactly. And when they released this program in May, the CEO, James A. Rodriguez, explicitly stated that this ship allows them to introduce entirely new destinations.
So structurally, what's happening is they are chasing the highly experienced traveler. This is the person who has probably already done Antarctica or the high Arctic.
Where Atlas notes interest is still very strong, by the way.
Right. But now that traveler is looking for warm weather, highly exotic expedition cruising, they want the frontier, but they want it with an Aperol Spritz in hand.
Yeah, exactly. And that leads us to the ultimate extreme of this changing vacation style. Atlas is offering what they call extraordinary expeditions that last at least 40 nights.
The absolute crown jewel being a 128-night Grand Odyssey expedition, sailing all the way from Kobe, Japan to Cape Town, South Africa.
128 nights.
Yeah. It includes private ground transfers, special events, commemorative gifts. But I have to ask you about the mindset here. Booking a 128-night journey requires a massive commitment of time and resources. What does this early demand tell us about what cruisers actually want today? I mean, people were booking before general public reservations even opened on June 10th.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it reveals a fundamental shift. Cruisers are transitioning from viewing a cruise as a simple one-off vacation to treating it as a comprehensive, long-term lifestyle choice.
Lifestyle choice, yeah.
Think about the structural forces at play. You have a growing demographic of time-rich, capital-rich individuals, maybe affluent retirees, or the rising class of untethered luxury remote workers.
Right. So when you book a 128 Grand Odyssey, you aren't going on a trip. You are practically relocating your life to this floating boutique hotel for a third of the year.
Exactly. You're moving your ZIP code to the Indian Ocean. The fact that past guests and Atlas Yacht Club members rush to place early deposits shows that this demographic views the ship as a mobile luxury base camp.
It totally redefines the word cruise. But here's where the narrative takes a really interesting turn. While you have a segment of travelers practically moving to Africa for a third of the year to find the frontier, you have another massive group of travelers finding that exact same sense of frontier exploration right here in the United States.
Yes. We're seeing a hyper-local destination shift right in the Great Lakes. It proves that changing vacation styles aren't just about going further away. Sometimes it's about looking closer to home, but with a much more intimate lens.
And the focal point of this local boom today is Green Bay, Wisconsin. On Tuesday, June 9, Victory Cruise Line's Victory II arrived in Green Bay, docking right at Leicht Park at 7 a.m.
Just pulling right up to the park.
Exactly. And this single arrival officially kicked off an expanded 2026 cruise season for the city. And the growth here is staggering. Downtown Green Bay is seeing its cruise calls triple, going from just 2 calls in 2025 to 6 scheduled calls this year.
It's a remarkable scale-up for a port of that size, and it's driven entirely by passenger demand for highly tailored, culturally specific experiences.
Right, because the excursions are completely different from what you'd expect on a standard cruise.
Totally different.
Passengers stepping off the Victory II weren't heading to a mega resort. They were scheduled for visits to the National Railroad Museum, the Green Bay Botanical Garden, and Lambeau Field.
And some were even heading further north to explore Door County.
Right. But I want to push back on this for a second, because if you're a listener who usually sails to the Bahamas or Alaska, your first thought is probably, why would I want to dock at a park in Wisconsin to look at a football stadium? How is a trip to Green Bay actually moving the needle for the multi-billion-dollar cruise industry?
Well, it's moving the needle because it taps into a completely different economic and psychological driver. To understand the appeal, you have to look at the massive regional data backing it up.
Okay, hit me with the data.
So Cruise the Great Lakes projects that cruising will generate more than $310 million in economic impact across the region in 2026 alone. That is a 30% jump above last year.
Wow. A 30% jump in 1 year is wild for a domestic market.
It is, and the operational footprint is huge. We're talking about 7 different cruise lines operating 10 ships in the Great Lakes this year. They are carrying nearly 25,000 people across 150 different itineraries, resulting in nearly 900 port visits in the region.
So how does that translate to the ground level in a place like Green Bay?
Well, think about the economic mechanics of a megaship port in the Caribbean versus a small ship in Green Bay. At a private island in the Bahamas, the money stays mostly within the cruise line's ecosystem.
Right, you're buying drinks from the cruise line's bars.
Exactly. But when the Victory 2 talks in Green Bay, the city expects those 6 visits to bring 785 passengers, who will generate an estimated $327,000 in direct local economic impact.
That's a lot of money for a local economy.
Yeah, that is money going directly into the registers of local coffee shops, museums, transit operators, and small businesses. It represents a structural shift where a highly lucrative segment of travelers is intentionally choosing unique, smaller-scale ports that offer authentic Americana.
They don't want a manufactured resort. They want cultural density.
Exactly.
And the industry is building ships specifically to cater to this. Brad Toll, the president and CEO of Discover Green Bay, noted that they're also welcoming American Cruise Line's newly built American Patriot later this season.
Oh, the American Patriot, yeah.
The American Patriot makes its first Green Bay call on June 29, with more calls scheduled straight through July and August.
Which proves the point perfectly. The demand for this domestic, intimate exploration is so strong that cruise lines are investing in brand new, purpose-built vessels just to navigate these regional waterways.
It is an incredible period of innovation. Whether travelers are booking a luxury suite to Mombasa or exploring the heartland of the Great Lakes. But we need to shift gears now, because as we established at the top of the show, there is an absolute foundational requirement for all of these changing vacation styles.
Right.
It's a matter if you're on a 128-day global odyssey or a weekend river cruise. None of it works without passenger safety. We want to update you on a serious, sobering case regarding shipboard accountability that recently reached a legal conclusion.
Yeah, this is a vital part of covering the industry. As the operational footprint expands, the legal mechanisms that protect passengers must be rigorously maintained, and the outcomes of those processes really need to be reported plainly.
Exactly. So we want to strictly and respectfully report the facts of a recent criminal court case. 43-year-old Kendrick White Sr. has pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a 15-year-old passenger during a Carnival Cruise Line sailing. According to a May 26 release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Louisiana, this incident took place during a cruise that departed from New Orleans on November 18, 2023. The sailing visited Mexico, and the incident occurred before the ship returned to port after 2 days at sea.
Right, and looking at the specifics detailed in the court filing, this was a passenger-on-passenger assault. The filing plainly states that White continued to make advances after the teenager repeatedly declined.
Yes.
In a police statement that was described in the filing, the victim identified White as her assailant and specifically named one of White's sons as a witness to the events.
And White has officially entered a guilty plea. The legal consequences detailed by the U.S. Attorney's Office are severe and comprehensive.
Yes. Based on the U.S. Attorney's Office statements, White faces up to 15 years in federal prison. On top of potential prison time, he faces lifetime supervised release, a fine of up to $250,000, possible sex offender registration, and a mandatory $100 special assessment fee per count. He is currently scheduled to be sentenced by the court on September 1.
Right. And for the broader industry context, it should be noted that the criminal complaint filed in August did identify Carnival Cruise Line as the operator of the vessel, though the specific ship was not named in that complaint. Carnival Corp., the parent company, has not commented publicly on the outcome of the case. We are reporting this to you today as a factual reminder of the very real, active, legal, and safety mechanisms at play in maritime travel.
Absolutely.
There's an old misconception that international waters are somehow lawless. But federal jurisdictions, like the court in Louisiana where this ship departed, actively enforce accountability.
And that reality creates an important synthesis for everything we've examined today. The cruise industry is in an era of rapid, boundary-pushing innovation. We've talked about operators launching 128-night grand odysseys that essentially serve as floating luxury cities. Right.
We've talked about the massive expansion into non-traditional domestic ports like Green Bay to satisfy a craving for hyper-local tourism.
Yeah.
But the true, enduring measure of the industry's success won't be in the amenities it offers or the new ports it opens. It will ultimately rest on its ability to guarantee the foundational safety, security, and legal protection of every single passenger on board, no matter where in the world they choose to sail.
Thanks for listening to Cruise News. Visit cruisenews.io to catch up on the latest updates and sign up for free email alerts.